Welcome to our parent meeting this evening. I am shocked that we had this many people here. I thought with all the things we all have going on this week, we might have a low turnout, but you guys have really surprised me. So thank you for coming out. I know it is a very busy time of year. We're going to start this evening with a few introductions. My name is Shannon Woodson. I am the Dean of Academics for Moore Public Schools. This is Dr. Christy Hernandez. She is the Director of Student Services for Moore Public Schools. And then we have Michael Hoggart. Oh, I almost had that. Michael Hoggart. He is Director of Recruitment for Oklahoma City Community College. Dr. Glennae Weisenhunt. She is Vice President of Academic Affairs for OCCC. And then Kyle Garner, and he is Assistant Director of Advisement for OCCC. And we're here tonight to share with you a new exciting program. Our 8th graders who are going to be incoming freshmen next year will be the first group, this will be our first cohort, to be able to participate in this exciting new program. So as you know, we now have a partnership with OCCC where students will be able to earn an Associates in Art Diversified Studies through OCCC while on our campuses. So if they are a student attending here at Westmore, Southmore, or Moore, we will have professors from OCCC on our campuses fulfilling the requirements for their associate's degree at the same time that they're filling the requirements for Oklahoma graduates. All right, so concurrent enrollment, right now, it is not a new thing to Moore Public Schools. If you have an older student, you may have already had a student participate in our concurrent enrollment. Traditionally, that has been mostly seniors. Over the last few years, we've had more juniors and even a few sophomores participate. But every year, over 600 of our graduates have at least one college class underneath their belt by the time they leave us. We have had students get up to 36, 38 hours before taking those courses during their junior and their senior year. That will still be available to our students. We'll change the slide. So if students still want to just get a few concurrent hours each of those years, they will still have that opportunity. This program that will allow students to earn their associate's degree, we're not the only district doing it. It's not completely new. Right now, OCCC partners with Santa Fe South Charter School. Tulsa Union has been partnering with Tulsa Community for several years, doing a program similar to this. And then we're 1 year ahead of UConn, but starting in 2023, UConn will also have a partnership like this. And I tell you this just so you know we didn't just dream this up, okay? This is something that's also very popular in the northeast part of the country. All right, so again, Early Start, it's not going to take the place of our traditional concurrent. And so if you decide that this is not the program for you or for your kiddo, they will still have lots and lots of opportunity to take concurrent enrollment during those junior and senior and even some sophomore year. All right, so here's where it gets tricky. We have to make sure your student fulfills all of the Oklahoma graduation requirements. They also have to fill all the higher regent requirements. Some of those classes evenly overlap. So for example, when they are taking U.S. history their sophomore year, that takes the place of the normal history class they would take junior year at one of our high schools. So they're going to get high school and college credit for that class. They're actually going to get high school credit for all these classes, but they're only going to get college credit for this side of the graph. And we're going to have all this information available to you. But as you can see, they're going to be able to start their freshman year. And on this column of the chart, you're going to see all of the college courses. So they're going to take personal financial literacy and computer literacy at OCCC. It'll actually be at their high school campus taught by an OCCC professor. So they would take personal finance first semester and computer literacy second semester. We worked really hard to make sure that this would be offered to kids who are also in other activities. It was very challenging to get this arranged to where every year at the high school level, your student will still have an elective, meaning they can still do band, they can still do athletics, they can still do drama, chorus, speech and debate, even ag. So they can still have an elective every single year. Okay, so what are characteristics like of kiddos we think will be successful in this program? Students with a strong work ethic. These will be college classes. They're going to have the same workload taking the class on our high school campus as an adult would taking the class at OCCC. So we want to make that very clear. This is not a watered down or remedial curriculum. So they're going to have a strong work ethic. They're also probably going to be students who typically make A's, B's, maybe an occasional C in an honors class. But keep in mind, the workload and the responsibility load is going to be heavier with this class than it's going to be with their normal high school course. They're going to need to have great attendance. Attendance is going to be very, very important for a student to be successful in any of these classes. They're also going to need to be a student who's not necessarily on an AP track or concerned with class rank. And let me give you some examples. We have some kiddos out there who are pushing for that valedictorian or that salutatorian award during graduation. They are looking for super high ACT, maybe they're national merit candidates or, tongue-tied, academic regent candidates. Those kiddos probably would not want to participate in this program, and here is why. If you're in an honors course or an AP course, your grade point average is based on 5, right? So an A is worth 5 points, a B is worth 4, a C is worth 3, a D is worth 2. If you're on regular coursework, just a regular high school class, no honors, no concurrent, it's based on 4. So an A is worth 4 points, a B is worth 3, and so on. Concurrent, we give a half point for. So if you're in concurrent courses, you're going to get a 4.5 for an A. Not quite as high as the AP. So if your child is really concerned about graduating in the top 5 or 6 of their class, they're going to want to take an honors AP track. Now, that's not to say that when they're in junior English or 10th grade world history, they can still take that AP course or the honors course at the high school. And they'll still get the 5 points for that. But we have students that try to get out with a 4.9, 4.95, 5-point average, and this would affect that. So if that's the track your student's on, this probably isn't going to be a good program for them. Also, talking about students who self-manage and do not need constant reminders. Now, this one gets tricky because we're talking about 8th and 9th grade kiddos here, and they all need reminders, okay? But if you're one of those parents that has to get on your parent portal every single night, I see parents looking at some of these kiddos, and starting with hour 1, do you have homework? Did you turn that thing in? Where's this paper? If you're still doing that type of management for your student, I would recommend you all work on that for a couple of years and get them to where they can self-manage, and then let them take regular concurrent junior or senior year. Because here's the deal, parents. This is a college class, and you're not going to be able to email the professor, okay? They're going to treat your students like college students. Now, let me tell you, I had a daughter that did concurrent. One of the best life lessons she learned during concurrent was when she had to be absent, I helped her compose a respectful, polite, clear email to her professor. And now that she's graduated and she's in college full time, she still uses that skill set. So I'm not saying you guys can't help your kiddos, but as far as being able to call the professor and ask if they've turned a paper in or ask why they made a poor grade on a test, that's not going to be a possibility. Okay, that's all going to have to come through your kiddo. So you're going to need to make sure that your kiddo can self-manage. Not that they're not going to need some reminders. They're still 14, 15-year-old kids, okay? But they do need to be on the track to self-managing to be successful in this program. Also, we don't want students with few, if any, zeros or missing assignments. That just goes back to that work ethic thing. You know, at the college level, you have fewer assignments, but they count a lot more. And so a 0 could just tank a grade in college. So they'll need to make sure they're there, they're having good attendance to take the test, and they're going to need to make sure that all of their coursework is turned in on time. So if you have a kiddo that's constantly turning in things late, they should probably wait and take one of these courses their junior or senior year. Because here's something else, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit. If kiddos make below a C in concurrent, they're out of concurrent forever. So we would rather have a kiddo wait until they were a little bit more mature and do this their junior or senior year than come in as a freshman and mess it up and not be able to rejoin the program. Okay? Dr. Hernandez, pipe in anytime. Are you sure? Okay. Dr. Hernandez is really the expert on all this, and so she has a live mic over there. She needs to be popping in. Okay, some possible risk factors for your kiddo. Upon high school graduation, students may not be eligible for freshman scholarships. We know Kyle checked with OU today. They still consider those concurrent, and they would still be eligible for freshman scholarships. But at some other schools, especially some private schools or some private scholarships, they may not consider them a freshman because in reality, they're going to enter college with enough hours to be a junior. Now, unless you have a full ride scholarship, this reduced rate of getting 2 years of college is still going to be cheaper than probably any scholarship you would receive anyway. So it's probably still economically better to do this program, but we just want you to keep that in mind. Also, if a student begins this program and decides to drop, they might have to complete a few online classes. In order to meet the requirements for both OCCC and more public schools, we had to flop some of the sequencing of classes. So let's say they just get in there and they decide their sophomore year, oh, you know, this just isn't for me. They might have to go pick up an online class. For example, Oklahoma history. Oklahoma history is traditionally taken at the freshman year here at Moore. However, Oklahoma history at OCCC is an upper level class, so they can't take it until their junior year. So if they're in this program, they're not going to have Oklahoma history till their junior year. So let's say they decide their sophomore year, I don't want to do this anymore, we would have to put them on our online class to catch them up. It won't be that big of a deal. It's only going to be 1 or 2 classes. We have success with those on online, but I did just want to warn you about that might be something that happens if a student decides this is not the program for them. Also, going back to that, some of these classes will be taken out of the traditional order. For example, you'll take American history a year earlier, you'll take Oklahoma history 2 years later, so some of them are flopped. So we'd have to be kind of creative with your student's schedule if they dropped out of this program and wanted to go back just into regular high school, which isn't a problem. We just wanted to let you guys know that that's a possibility. Okay, again, what if my student begins this program and then decides it's not for them? We have an exit strategy for every year. So when Dr. Hernandez and I were looking at the course sequence, we said, okay, if a kiddo drops out second semester freshman year, what would we have to do? If they drop out sophomore year, what would we have to do? And we do have an exit strategy. So don't feel like you have to, we want you to complete it. We want every kiddo to complete it, obviously. But don't feel like that's going to be a deal breaker. Okay, just on behalf of Moore Public Schools, I want to thank OCCC for this amazing opportunity. They have been so great to work with. They also are going to provide a liaison for just these kids, an advisor liaison that will work with our school counselors, the students, you guys, kind of be the go-between. They are giving extra professional development to the professors who will be here on campus because they're not used to dealing with 14 and 15-year-olds. They're used to dealing with adults, and so they're going to provide some extra training. They're offering financial incentives to get their best professors on our campuses. So they're actually offering financial incentives to those professors. And so I just wanted to thank them for giving our students here at Moore Public Schools this opportunity. We really, really appreciate it. So is that my last slide, Ms. Hernandez or Dr. Hernandez? Okay, can you think of anything I forgot? Oh, one more application. Can you think of anything I forgot? Okay, we have an application. Go ahead and go back to the application procedures. There's going to be a few different steps to apply. We have at the back some QR codes that you're going to scan. I did not make enough copies. I did not dream we'd have this many people here, but we're going to have all the applications uploaded to our website. You're going to have to fill out an application for us. We're going to check your attendance, your grade point average, and we're going to email a few teachers to make sure that you're a good candidate for this. Then we have to accept you into the program. At the same time, OCCC is going to have some parent meetings they're going to talk to you about, and you're going to have to go and apply to their school and attend one of their parent meetings all at the same time. And then hopefully, if your child's interested, we will give you the okay, OCCC will give you the okay, and we can get your kiddos started this fall. So you will have to attend one of the 4 Early Start events at OCCC and get that paperwork filled out. We're going to require you to fill out our paperwork by June 10th. And I will tell you that date is after the last OCCC meeting. So go to the OCCC meeting even if you haven't heard from us. And I'm going to be working those applications as soon as they come in. So if you guys go home tonight and fill one out, I will start, well, I might not start tomorrow because we have graduation, but I will start as quickly as I can getting that information back to you. Okay. And if you have any questions, you can take a pic of this real fast. Dr. Hernandez's email, my email, and again, we've created a special website that will go live tomorrow, and you can scan these QR codes on your way out to get that. All right.
All right. Thank you again for allowing us here today. And so, yes, we're going to talk about a couple of things. And so just to give you an idea of what we will be discussing with you today is mainly we're talking about, as I mentioned before, we have an early college program currently on our campus. And so we'll talk a little bit about those students as far as how well they perform, but also mentioned before as well, the resources that's available to your students as well. So we can go with the next slide. You've been introduced to ourselves. Obviously, my name is Michael Hoggett. I'm the Director of Recruitment, Dr. Wisenhunt, and Kyle Gardner. So they are the folks here that's here to answer the additional questions that you may have about our program. And just give you a little history of our early college program. We work with a school called Pathways, an extension of Santa Fe South. Pretty much you see started in 2001 with us, and basically Santa Fe South went to Santa Fe South in 2014. Pretty much approximately about 200 students on our campus. With this program, that will be expanding, and about 90% of our students are economically disadvantaged and are eligible for your reduced lunch. Next slide. And to give you an idea as far as what the students do as far as credits, you can see over the time as far as the average number of credits hours the students have upon graduation of high school. So as this program started in 2017, you can see there's a continuous rise as far as the number of credit hours completed. So the vast majority of students are either completing an associate's degree when they graduate high school or a bit short. Next slide. Also, you can see how well these students perform academically compared to our rest of our student body. These students have performed at a higher academic level than our average OCCC student. You can see that information there. Also, just some information about degrees. In Oklahoma, basically in 2020 data showed 24% of first-time, full-time students at the community college earned a college degrees in less than 3 years. The national rate is 33%. Also, information about our pathway students as far as the percentage of those students who are getting an associate's degree by they graduate in high school. As you can see in 2017, that average number, and you can see as the years went along, that number has grown. And for the students who do not get that degree upon graduation, the vast majority of those students, as you can see, 10% of those students will get that degree after they graduate high school. And also, as far as information continuing on to a 4-year school, in 2017 to 20, 41% of Pathways graduates attended OCCC, basically continuing on to a 4-year school. And basically for the average in the U.S., that average is about 43%. Another statistic as far as how well our students do, particularly these are our sophomore students. As you can see at the bottom point, pretty much those students are performing even at a higher rate than our our average pathway students. And obviously you can see the number as far as how they perform against the general body of OCCC students. Next slide. And also you can see the number of sophomores as far as what percentage of those students earned a degree upon graduation, but also you can see they performed at a higher level as far as actually going on to a 4-year school upon graduation as well. And quickly, just some information as far as some of the resources that's available to you. As mentioned before, we'll be hiring a new staff member that's specifically geared to assist the students who are in this cohort. This student will basically have daily, weekly communication with the high schools, with the students to basically encourage their success. The last thing we want to do is have students involved in this program who are not successful. So we are invested in that success, but so we are hiring a full-time staff member to basically work with these students, work with the high schools to encourage the students are successful. And there'll be, as I mentioned before, there'll be weekly communication with the students, with the faculty, with the high schools to ensure the students are being successful. Also, other opportunities as far as resources available at the college. There are 22 learning labs devoted to helping students, math lab, language labs, labs for basically a writing center. So if you need help writing papers, there are numerous labs associated on campus that students can either go to personally or they have Zoom options to attend via Zoom. So we give students a lot of opportunities. And again, visiting with faculty and staff, your faculty, basically students still has access to faculty as well. They have what we call office hours where they can basically have additional questions. They can either send that faculty email or go to their office hours to ask those questions. And again, additional resources available, transcripts, financial aid, advising, student support service, student life, rec and fit. So there are numerous opportunities and access that students have to additional opportunities on campus because more or less they're considered OCCC student, meaning they have access to all the other OCCC resources that's available to students on campus. And just quickly, some of the eligibility requirement. Basically, students have to have a 3.0 high school GPA, 19 ACT sub-score, or the equivalent with ACT Aspire. Tuition is paid for by the college if the student has free or reduced lunch, or they qualify for Oklahoma's Promise. Now, make sure I mention if the student do not meet these financial qualifications, they still can participate in the program. So, what's next? Obviously, the first thing we will say is continue to visit with your counselor to confirm your interest to move forward. Then you will need to attend one of our parent-student information sessions. The dates are listed on here, but also we'll have some flyers for you as well with that information about those dates, so you don't have to strain to get your phones to focus on this. So we'll have some brochures for you about that as well. And at this meeting, if you so decide to pursue it, we will have an application there at the meeting, so there will be a paper application that you'll complete in order to get that ball moving forward. And also the parent and student will be asked to sign an agreement, basically expectations as far as what to expect and what level of expectation we need you and the student to meet in order to move forward with this particular program. And with that being said, we're done with our program, so I'm not sure how you want to proceed with questions.
Okay, so we've just thrown a ton of information at you in a very short time frame, and we understand that. Please understand that we are going to post all of this recording of tonight's presentation along with the PowerPoint, all the paperwork. We're going to post all of that on all of our 3 high school websites. And so, and our freshman counselors will know exactly where that is located. We're going to get that information to them as well. So I know that you're going to get home and you're going to have to talk to your spouse or your kids or whatever, and you're going to start thinking of 1,000 questions. We are going to stick around tonight and help you with any questions you might have. But also just know that this information is available for you also to look at and ask us questions for all the questions that you're going to come up with. So we really, really thank you guys for coming out tonight.
Again, all of these little QR codes will take you to the website. We will have the rest of the information uploaded, hopefully by the end of the day Wednesday. We do have a few handouts that we're going to ask just one per family. We have a little card that's going to list the dates of the parent meeting. Don't forget, the final parent meeting's June 8th. So even if you haven't heard back from us yet, you need to go ahead and go to that parent meeting. And then, like I said, we will be here to answer any questions that you guys might have, but we really appreciate you all coming out tonight.